the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Madam President. Alderman O'Brien is present. Alderwoman Timmons. Alderman Moran.
Here.
Alderman Tebow.
Here.
Alderman Gabea.
Here.
Alderman Lopez.
Here.
Alderman Sullivan.
Here.
Alderman Clemmons.
Here.
Alderman Senate.
Here.
Alderman Jettie.
Here.
Alderman Tebow.
We
Yeah,
have two
I'm
of
still
those.
here.
he's still here.
You missed,
What would be the proper pronunciation?
Thibodeau.
Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Here.
We'll give you Alderman Thibodeau. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Alderman Clee. Alderman Dowd.
Present.
Alderwoman Kelly.
I'm here. I'm attending via Zoom due to medical reasons, and I can hear everyone.
Thank you. Alderman Wilshire.
I am here.
Okay. Madam President, you have a quorum with 13 in attendance, 2 absent.
Thank you. As is customary, I will turn the meeting over to the chairman of the Budget Review Committee, Alderman Dowd.
Okay, this evening, we're going to have a public hearing on R-22-002 relative to the supplemental appropriation of $547,326.33 of FY 2024 unanticipated revenue into Fund Number 1001, Capital Improvements, Department 160, Public Works, Administration and Engineering. Is there someone that's going to give us a little overview?
Good evening, Dan Hudson, City Engineer. This is good news for Nashua. The state, through House Bill 2, has decided to send $10 million in money back to communities for bridge work. It's being done on a formula basis, based upon how much deck area, bridge deck area you have in your community, and also by population. So it's kind of a 2 different factors baked into a formula, which determines how much money each community gets. In this case, Nashua is getting the amount stated, just $547,326.33. This money is to supplement, not supplant, local budgets. So if you already had something budgeted, you're not to use this money instead. But for things that weren't budgeted, you can use this money to supplement your other appropriated funds to repair, maintain, and construct municipal bridges as part of state bridge aid. So this is good for Nashua. There's no match for this funding, so this is 100% money to be used at our discretion. And I'd be happy to address any questions anyone may have about it.
Are there any clarifying questions from the board of Mr. Hudson? Seeing none? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With that said, I will now open up testimony in favor of R-24-002. Seeing none. Testimony in opposition. Seeing none. Testimony in favor. Seeing none. Testimony in opposition. Seeing none. I will now close the public hearing on Resolution R-24-002 at 7:04 p.m. Alderman O'Brien?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make the motion that the January 22nd, 2024 special meeting of the Board of Aldermen so be adjourned.
Motion is to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Vote.
Excuse me,
Roll call.
Mr. Chairman, it would have to be by roll call.
Oh, roll call. We have someone online.
Sorry, everyone.
Okay. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alderman O'Brien votes yes. Alderman Moran.
Yes.
Alderman Tebow.
Thibodeau.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna designate.
Go in order.
Yeah.
The name.
So it goes like this, Ward 6, okay, I see it here. Written down. Where would you happen to be Ward 6 now, sir?
I am.
All right then. Then there'll be Alderman Thibodeau.
Aye.
Alderman Gaveva.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
No.
Alderman Sullivan.
Yes.
Alderman Clemmons.
Yes.
Alderman Senate.
Yes.
Alderman Jettie.
Yes.
Alderman Tebow.
Yes.
Too many of you. It's like O'Brien on St. Patrick's Day, sorry, I apologize. Alderman Clee is absent, Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
and Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
Okay. You have the affirmative motion should carry, sir.
Yes, and so we're adjourned at 7:06 PM. We'll give a couple of minutes for anyone that's not on budget that wishes to depart. Dan, so- You all set?
I'm all set.
All right, I'd like to call the Budget Review Committee to order. It's January 22nd, 2024, and we're in the Aldermanic Chamber, and it's 7:06 PM. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Sullivan,
Here.
Alderman Tebow,
Here.
Alderman Senate,
Here.
Alderman Kelly,
Here.
Alderman at-large Wilshire,
Here.
Alderman at-large Michael O'Brien is present, and Alderman Dowd.
Present.
Also in attendance.
Dan Hudson.
Everybody else, I think that's Alderman Jettie and Alderman Clemmons. Thank you.
All right. Okay, the first order of business is to elect a clerk for this term, unless there's somebody else that wants to desire it. Can I have a motion to re-elect? Yes, Alderman Wilshire?
I'll make a motion to nominate Alderman O'Brien as clerk of the Budget Review Committee.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to nominate Alderman O'Brien to serve as clerk. Is there any other nominations?
Can you make me do this?
Wait and see. Alderman Wilshire?
I move to close nominations.
Alderman Wilshire moves to close nominations. Would you call the roll?
Alderman Sullivan,
Yes.
Alderman Tebow,
Yes.
yes, Alderman Senate,
Yes.
Alderman at-large Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman at-large Wilshire,
Yes.
Alderman at-large Michael O'Brien votes yes. Alderman at-large Dowd,
Yes.
Okay, you just gave him a nod.
motion carries.
Promotion.
Okay, so, like to make a motion to elect Alderman O'Brien as the committee clerk for the 2024-25 term. All those, roll call?
Okay, that would be Alderman Sullivan,
Yes.
Alderman Tebow,
Yes.
and Alderman Senate.
Yes.
Alderman at-large Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman at-large Wilshire,
Yes.
Alderman at-large O'Brien votes yes, and Alderman Dowd
Yes,
votes yes.
congratulations.
Thank you.
The first order of business is public comment. I see no members of the public either online or in the audience, so none. Communications,
There are none.
unfinished business,
There is none.
new business resolutions.
Before us this evening is R-24-002, relative to the supplemental appropriation of $5,047,000.
547.
$547 million.
No,
No. Help me with this.
he'd like
math.
that, but no. It's 547,326.
Yeah, $326.33 of fiscal year 2024 unanticipated revenue into Fund 1001, Capital Improvements, Department 160, Public Works, Administration and Engineering.
All right. Motion's on the floor. Any questions? Yes, Alderman Clemmons.
Thank you. Just a question about and it's through you to Mr. Hudson, I think. So this can't be used because I know that the bridge project, the Hudson Bridge, we're bonding some of that. We can't use this to reduce the bond at all, or can we?
Mr. Hudson?
Thank you. So that's a good question. We, that funding for that project we already appropriated and awarded, but the good news is that project was 80-20, 80% federal through the state, 20% being a municipal match, of which the 20% is split, 10% to Nashua, 10% to Hudson. We actually received money through a previous similar legislation, Senate Bill 401, where the city received over $1 million as part of that previous distribution, and we used a portion of that towards our 10%, or as our 10% match. So that bridge is being done with no local taxpayer funds, other than what was spent on the design, which we also split 50-50 with Hudson.
Follow-up, Alderman Clemmons?
Yeah, so my follow-up to that is, do you have anything on the radar that you're looking to spend this on?
An excellent question. Yes, we do. So we're gearing up to award the replacement pedestrian bridge behind Nashville High School South. The board may recall that bridge, we observed a critical issue. We had to close the bridge, remove the bridge, put up a temporary bridge. So we have bid that project out. We have a contractor, which we're bringing forward for contract approval. So funds from that bridge fund that this money is getting deposited into will be used. I think that project can all be done with cash in hand, so to speak. But in the same time, we've used some of the money to advance design on other bridges or assessment. We've been looking at the Water Street Bridge. That bridge is in pretty serious disrepair. It's going to need some improvements. So certainly these funds, together with the previous funds we received, will be used towards that project.
Great, thank you. All set. Any other questions? Alderman Sullivan.
Thank you. So as I look at the financial statements through November, so I understand these probably aren't up to date exactly, but it's got about 1.7 million left in the budget. So we're going to add that into that budget. Are there any other bridge repairs in that capital improvement budget that you've outlined, or is this amount of money only going to take care of those? Well, we've been going through assessing all the bridges. Water Street is the next most critical one, as I noted, but there are other pedestrian bridges in Mine Falls that are going to need work. The money can be used toward maintenance. One of the things we've contracted our engineering consultant for is to develop basically a bridge maintenance plan for us. The state comes and evaluates all the bridges on a periodic basis, the vehicular bridges, that is. And they, you either pass or you go on a red list, or they tell you what the rating is, but they don't really tell you the specific things you should be doing to maintain that bridge so it doesn't fall into that sort of a situation. Some of those things are intuitive, but others are not so intuitive. So we're working with a consultant to develop a bridge capital plan, give us a better idea going forward exactly what we should be budgeting and what types of maintenance and repairs we should be making at what time. So that all is in the works, so to speak. The 1.7 million I don't think reflects the pending award of that bridge I was just mentioning, the one down at Mine Falls. I think that's going to use about $500,000 of the bridge funds towards that project. This will replace that, so I guess we'll be basically back where we were. But yeah, it is a good pot of money that we have that we can keep evaluating and advancing bridge maintenance and repairs and construction efforts where needed.
Follow-up question,
Thanks.
Alderman Sullivan.
Thanks, just for clarification. So we're getting money, about $500,000 from somewhere else to take care of South Bridge, to replace that one? And then this money from State Bridge Aid, House Bill 2, is gonna go towards probably Water Street. Just wanna clarify on that.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
just a timing thing. They're both the money we receive and this money are going into the same local fund, basically. So all bridge money we've been receiving is going in there, and then we'll get spent out of there, where this money goes exactly, I think you're probably correct in just the timing of things. I think this money will go into the fund, probably go towards Water Street or a future project, not the pedestrian bridge at the high school.
Okay, all right.
So just for clarification, like, anytime you want to use this money for a project, legal will make sure it falls in line with the state requirements of the House bill. And I assume that any contracts coming out of this will go through finance.
Yes, correct on both points. Luckily, the strings, so to speak, that come with this money are very broad. They've enabled municipalities to use this pretty freely, which we really welcome because it enables us to be creative to get projects done. But you're correct, that is the case.
Okay, Alderman Tebow?
Thank you, Alderman Dowd, Chairman Dowd. So my question is kind of a dumb one. How many bridges do we have in the city?
I feel dumb because I can't give you a off-the-cuff answer. I apologize for that. We have on the order of a dozen plus minus bridges. But yeah, I don't have that answer off the top of my head, which is unfortunate.
Yes, follow-up?
So you had mentioned, bringing in a consultant to kind of look at the bridges and determine, it's something we've done with the parks and things we've done with, the fire stations, or we're going to do with the fire stations. So you're saying right currently, the worst is Water Street, but we don't have do we have a list of like, okay, this one would be next, this one would be next?
So, yeah, very good question. We had them, first because of everything going on in the waterfront area, we knew we wanted to look at Water Street and Main Street right away because of the timing of everything. We didn't want to finish the Water Street or the waterfront works and then have to do a bridge rehab project. So we accelerated those two. We had them take a deep look at Water Street and Main Street. We found problems with both bridges, as we would with anything. The Main Street problems are less severe. Those can be dealt with in the future down the road. Water Street, we recognize we do need to do a rehab, and we need to do it as soon as we can. So we, entered right into a design of the rehab project. That's underway. We're hoping to have a package together that we can advertise, end of this month, beginning of next month. And then have that, hopefully, if we get bids, be under construction first thing in the spring. But we also contracted the same engineer to look at all the bridges, kind of do that deeper dive on all the bridges. And that they'll do to help us develop the capital program, but we've certainly accelerated these other two bridges as a first effort towards that.
Follow-up?
Yeah, one more. I'll ask you two questions in one just so I don't have to ask again. One is, all the bridges in the city our responsibility or the state's? And then the last one is Water Street. You said it as soon as possible. Is there any danger there of, in the meantime, while we get ready to do that? Because, even though we're getting the money now and all that, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. So those are my last two questions.
So all the bridges are, like you said, are our responsibility with the states or jointly with another municipality. The bridges that connect us with Hudson, they're responsible for half of those bridges. But yeah, most all the other bridges, are either or. But even at that, the ones that are the national responsibility, there are these state aid bridge programs where we can obtain funding towards the repairs. So that doesn't mean if it's our responsibility, doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% our responsibility for funding a future project. Sorry, I forgot the second part of your question.
Water Street.
Water Street. So we
dangerous.
asked the consultant that, because I've had a number of meetings with them, and they show me the pictures of the cracks and show me the bearings that have a problem. That's a kind of a unique bridge because it's curved, has straight steel girders underneath, and the bridge is on a curve, so when things heat up, contract, bridge moves. And that's created a few problems, as well as salt getting through some of the existing joints that have failed and deteriorating the concrete. So it has a number of issues, but we've asked that question, and they're very comfortable that no, it doesn't need to be closed. It's not of an urgent nature to that degree. Repairs do need to be made. The bridge was rehabbed back in the late 80s. That rehab, we're basically back to where we were before that rehab was done. So we're looking to rehab it again, but do it in a way that hopefully we prevent the future recurrence of those issues in such a quick frequency. I say quick, I mean, it's been 40-plus years, but still, in bridge life, you'd like to get more out of your repairs than that. So we're looking at a system such as capping the concrete piers, so that if any water intrusion does get through, it'll shed off instead of eat into the concrete, things like that. Looking at redesigning the bearings so they can better accommodate the movement that the bridge has. So yeah, there's no urgent, it needs repairs urgently, but not to the degree that we need to shut it down or anything like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderman O'Brien?
Thank you. Mr. Hudson, could you tell us, historically, at one time, the Trellis Bridge, which is down by BAE, that runs from Spruce Street area into, is that a municipal bridge completely outright?
You're talking the railroad bridge?
The railroad bridge, because that's going to be part and parcel of further development of the rail trail or, the walkway down by the river at that point.
So my understanding is that it is the railroad's bridge. The pedestrian walkway has kind of been built with extensions, pieces off of that bridge. That work also is not in great shape. But in evaluating that area, we've come to the conclusion that a new pedestrian bridge crossing Nashua River probably should be done, so that we would own it, we would maintain it. Right now, we're kind of there. It was almost at the pleasure of the railroad through an easement, but still, it's not. We think for a couple of reasons it makes sense long term to build a separate new pedestrian bridge crossing across the river. It's envisioned to be west of that existing crossing. It is part of the riverfront plans for the loop portion that's on the east side of Main Street, which isn't the part that's going to construction immediately, but it is in our future plans. And we are looking at future grant opportunities, both for downtown, the riverfront, and that bridge as well.
Any further questions? Alderman Jettie?
Thank you. So are the bridges that go across the Everett Turnpike, are those city bridges or state bridges?
The ones that go across the Merrimack or the
Everett
ones?
Turnpike.
Okay. So yeah, those are state bridges.
Okay.
State
So-
bridges, they're in control of the bridges. When they did the work on the turnpike, they redid those bridges. When we pave, for the most part, I think we pave up to them. I can't remember exactly the delineation, but I know they're their bridges.
So can I?
Follow up, Alderman Jettie?
Thank you. So the bridge that Route 111 and West Hollis Street that goes across the highway, recently there was a sign that, I don't know what happened, it fell over, or do you know what happened?
So I don't know exactly what happened. I saw the news like everybody, but that there was a large sign structure that blew over. It was during that snow squall that came through, high winds. So I don't know exactly what caused that to fail. It's still, on the other side of the guardrail over there. But that's, I'm sure they're trying to figure out the same thing. I'm sure they're doing forensics on what happened and how to repair it or remove it and replace it. But that was the state's structure, and thankfully, when it did fail and fall onto the roadway, it didn't impact anybody, which we're very thankful for. It was
large structure, and that would have been damaging if it did fall on anybody.
Follow-up, Alderman Jettie?
Thank you. So besides the state looking at bridges and red flagging certain bridges and telling us that we've got to do certain repairs, do they look at their own bridges and the structures around it, like the signs and stuff that I guess I'd like to reassure the people that they're not going to get hit over the head with a sign.
Yeah, it's a good question. I know they do look at their own bridges, just like they look at all the bridges in the state. So I know they're inspecting the bridges, sign structures, mast irons, all those things. I don't know what their program is. I'm sure that this event that just happened, I'm sure that'll give them pause, and they'll probably be taking a more extensive look at everything in the area. Not knowing exactly what happened, I don't know what that means, but. State has a lot of infrastructure, just like we do, and as much as we'd like to look at everything, often we just don't have the resources to do that. I'm sure they don't either. I'm sure that is something that they're going to be looking into carefully. Everything also has is designed to a level, so you would think it'd be pretty high level. That sign structure had a lot of surface area, so it was a wind sail, so to speak, right? So if we have high winds, that was susceptible to being overloaded, would be my guess. So that'd be something but I don't know what it was designed to. I don't know what the wind was that came through and knocked it down, if that was the cause. But yeah, I'm sure they're going through a review now of structures like that to see if there are any others that might be, hazardous that should be looked at.
Thank you.
All set?
Yes,
Alderman
thank
Wiltshire.
you.
Thank you for coming tonight. What about the bridge on Canal Street? Is that the one you were talking about? No.
No.
No. So that bridge recently got repaired. I noticed that maybe a car went down on the right side, the southerly side of the bridge. Because I know I saw that they were doing some concrete repair over there.
So that bridge, and thank you for the question, and thank you for coming tonight. We had just had the one item on the agenda, so I appreciate everybody coming out so that we could accept this money, hopefully, if you choose to. The Canal Street Bridge was on the state's red list for municipal bridges, so that it had fallen into a category that needed to be looked at, or soon we were going to have to look at downposting and things like that. The issues that had were mostly on the concrete under the bridge, on the abutments, and along some of the piers. There's some concrete that had scoured, and so we did contract a few years ago, contracted a company to come in, chip away the concrete, dowel it, repair it. But a car did hit the bridge rail up top, and so we added that work into the project. It wasn't part of the bridge being red listed, but while they're there, it was the time to make that repair. So we had them do that as well. So as you go through there, you might notice concrete's a little different color because it's newer, but yeah, that was done, as well as a little bit of sidewalk work in the same vicinity where that rail had been impacted.
Follow-up, Alderman Wiltshire.
I know several years ago, I think when Donna Lee was the mayor, I'd asked her to look at lighting both of those lights because it's really dark walking in that section. And the lights still appeared to be not working. I mean, they were working. One of them was working for a while. I don't know if they need to be rewired, which I'm assuming they probably do, which is why they've been out so long. But it's a dark stretch right there
Okay.
if you're walking. So, keep in the back of your mind.
Something to think about. Yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't part of the previous project, but something to think about. Yeah, we can look at that going forward. I don't know what the opportunities there are. It is a old system, but that doesn't mean it can't be reworked. So yeah, I appreciate that input.
All set? Alderman Senate?
No, I was going to ask about Bridge Street, so thank you, Alderman Wiltshire.
Any other questions? Alderman O'Brien?
Yeah, on that particular bridge itself, if I remember right, we tried to get the special lighting to match what was originally on that bridge, on those towers, and so far it worked, but why, that is exposed unfortunately, the weather. But, Mr. Chairman, a little house cleaning. I just want to make sure for the record, I did make the pending motion to recommend final passage, which opened up this discussion on
Right.
this particular bill.
So any other questions? Seeing none, the motion on the floor is to recommend final passage of R 24002. Please call the roll.
Alderman Sullivan,
Yes.
Alderman Tebow,
Yes.
Alderman Sinat,
Yes.
Alderman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes,
Alderman O'Brien votes yes, Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Votes yes, unanimous, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Dodson. Thank you. And thanks for the tree removal on Tinker Road. New business ordinances,
There are none.
tabled in committee,
None?
general discussion. Alderman Clements.
Just want to remind everyone to go out and vote tomorrow. It's primary day in New Hampshire, so polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Anyone else? Alderman O'Brien?
Very timely. I hope we're not electioneering, but it's a good thing to vote. you know. I just had to get that punch in.
Alderman Tebow.
Yeah, I was going to save it for the remarks by Alderman, but it seems like a good time. So, I mean, I warned Alderman O'Brien that he was going to get the names Tebow and Thibodeau mixed up, so.
I
knew it was coming.
apologize if it offended anybody.
I knew it was coming, so I had to think twice about voting you for clerk, but I did. But just to jump on the voting stuff.
Well, do you want it back, sir?
No. I mean, you're trying to vote in 543 million, so I'm okay with that. But, so, yeah, to the points of voting, tomorrow's primary day. It's the biggest day, usually in New Hampshire's voting cycles over the 4 years. And, one party decided to take kind of that away. And so, go out tomorrow, vote the way you want. Don't let either party, and both parties are out there trying to kind of curb this to one candidate on each side, and that's not how it should be. The reason why we're here, democracy, that's what it's all about. It's about picking candidates. Otherwise, you become other countries that have an autocratic ruler, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for people to lead this country, and everybody should be able to decide on their own what they want, either side. So go out and vote. It's your right. It's important. New Hampshire, I think, will be important in the general election, so please come out for the primary tomorrow. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else? No. Public comment? There's none. There's no public involved. Remarks by the alderman? Seeing none. Alderman O'Brien,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
by roll call.
By roll call, yes. Alderman Sullivan,
Yes.
Alderman Tebow,
Yes.
Alderman Senate,
Yes.
Alderman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
yes.
Alderman O'Brien votes yes, Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Unanimously, your motion carries.
All right. We're adjourned at
Good night, everyone.
7:33 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, Donna.
Night.